Hola clase, bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a aprender sobre los mandatos familiares. The topic for today's flipped video is commands. First of all, what are commands? Commands are things we use to tell people what or what not to do. Okay, so for example, get out your note guide. Get out a pencil. Those are both commands that I, as a teacher, am telling you to do in order to prepare for this flipped video. There are all types of commands in Spanish, and today we're going to learn what are called familiar commands or two-form commands. If you think about the name, a two-form command is the type of command you would use with someone you're on a first name basis with. Okay, so for example, if you were telling your friend, hey, save me a seat at lunch, that's a two-form command. If you were telling your brother, hey, take out the trash, that's a two-form command. Okay, so these, again, are commands we're going to use with someone that we are familiar with. You can see on your note guide, you should have already filled out there from our definition, part number 1, go down to part number 2, which is formation of commands. There are two types of commands that we are going to learn today, and these are affirmative commands, and that means you're telling someone what to do. And then we're going to talk about negative two-form commands, and that just means you're telling someone what not to do. Okay, they are formed differently, so please pay attention and fill out your chart appropriately. Okay, so first up, you would use an affirmative two-form command to tell someone what to do. To form it, it's simple. You're just going to use the he, she, usted form of the verb in the present tense. Okay, so here are some examples for you. Please write these down in your chart on section 2. If you have the verb hablar, which means to speak, to command someone you know, you would say habla. Okay. If you were telling your friend to eat your lunch, you would tell him come. And if you were saying, hey, write the answer, escribe. Okay, so simple, easy, just using the he, she form of the verb in the present tense. Okay, you're now going to skip down. We're not going to fill out that negative side of the chart yet. You're going to skip down to irregular verbs in the affirmative two-form commands. Okay, there are 8. You did learn these in Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, so we're just going to remind ourselves of them here. You can see a photo on the right of Vin Diesel. And Vin Diesel will help you remember your 8 irregular verbs in the two-form command. We have that expression that says, Vin Diesel has 10 réponses. Okay, so slower, that means venir, which means to come. Its command is ven. Decir, to say or tell, its command is di. Salir, to leave, its command is sal. Hacer, to do or make, its command is has. Tener, to have, its command is ten. Ir, to go, its command is ve. Poner, to put, place, or set, its command is pon. And ser, the verb to be, its command is se. Okay, so again, when you're forming a two-form command, there's only 8 verbs that are irregular in formation. Those 8 verbs are here in green, and their irregular command is in blue. Again, the helpful expression is Vin Diesel has 10 réponses. Okay, so now that we've reviewed how to form affirmative two commands, let's go back up to section 2 on your note guide and talk about negative affirmative commands. Okay, so this would be telling someone what not to do. Like, don't copy my homework, don't sit with her, etc. It has a few more steps in formation. Okay, step 1, we need to go to the yo form of the verb in present tense. Step 2, you're going to drop the o. Step 3, you're going to add the opposite to form ending. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You add an es to an AR verb and an AS to an ER or IR verb. and then you put a no in front. Okay, so you've got some verbs here to fill out on your chart. If you're telling someone to don't talk, you say no hables. If you're telling someone don't eat, sorry about that, you want to say no comas. And if you're telling someone don't write, you want to say no escribas. Okay, now go to section 4 on your note guide. That's on the back side. You're also going to have some irregular verbs when using negative to-form commands. Okay, I like to call these the dishes verbs. Okay, put that in large letters for you. There are 6 verbs that are irregular, and those verbs are dar, ir, saber, haber, estar, and ser. You can see here I capitalized and bolded the first letter of each verb because they are the dishes verbs. Okay, so that means with these 6 verbs, you can't follow your steps of 1, going to the yo form, 2, dropping the O, and 3, adding the opposite ending. You're just going to have to sit down and memorize these. So when I tell someone, don't give, no des. Don't go, no vayas. Don't know, like don't know this information, no sepas. Haber, I put you a little note here, does not apply with commands. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and teach you that it's the dishes verbs for a tense you're going to learn later this year. Okay, estar, if I was saying, hey, don't be late, no estés, and ser, don't be, no seas. Okay, you have some other things that maybe quite aren't irregular, but they definitely need some consideration when forming them in the negative to-form command. Okay, car, gar, zar verbs. When you put these verbs in the negative to command, there is a spelling change that occurs. And this spelling change occurs to protect and preserve pronunciation. So don't practice. Think about it. If you did the regular steps and when you went to the yo form, that would be practico. And then step 2, you would drop the O. In step 3, you would add ES. Well, we all know that I's and E's soften G's and C's. Okay, so this, if you don't make the spelling change, is no practices. And you don't want no practices. Okay, so make your car, gar, zar spelling change. Okay, same changes that we worked with last year and earlier this year. The C in car will go to QU. The G and jar, the G and gar will go to GU. And the Z and zar verbs will go to a C. Okay, so don't practice, no practiques. Don't arrive, no llegues, and don't organize, no organices. Okay? Commonly, I get the question of, Mrs. Thompson, are there stem changes with commands? Well, yeah, when you think about it, what is step 1 of forming a negative command? You go to the yo form, present tense, and there will absolutely be a stem change there. Okay? So, again, not irregular, just something to consider. So, don't close is no cierres. Don't serve, no sirvas. And don't start, no empieces. Hopefully you noticed empezar here is a zar verb. So yes, it has a stem change because the yo form of empezar is empiezo, but it also had a spelling change to preserve pronunciation. Okay, and the last thing to consider, again, it's not irregular, but it's just something to think about. You have a bunch of verbs in the present tense that have an irregular yo form. Okay, so for example, you have salir. Salir in the yo form is salgo. Okay, so when you go to the yo form, you salgo, then you drop the O, and you add the opposite ending. Okay, and you would get no salgas. Poner, same thing. It has an irregular yo form. So when you go to the yo form, you get pongo, drop the O, and add the opposite ending, no pongas. Okay? For our practice, I'm going to want you to pause me, and I want you to know that for this practice and for your mini quiz tomorrow, it's just regular affirmative commands and regular negative commands. I'm not going to put any irregulars on there on the mini quiz or on this practice because that's something that we need some practice with. We need some repetition. Okay? So use your note guide, pause me, and work through these 6 practice examples. Okay, let's review. Organize the party. The verb to organize is organizar. So you get organiza la fiesta. Number 2, support the organization. Apoya la organización. Number 3, pick up the trash. Recoge la basura. Now, 4, 5, and 6 are negative. Okay, so remember you have to go to the yo form, drop the o, and add the opposite ending. So you get here for don't use my pencil, no uses mi lápiz. 5, don't drink my water, no bebas mi agua. And number 6, don't read my book, no leas mi libro. Okay, so again, just to recap, today you learned how to tell someone that you're familiar with what to do and what not to do. Okay, to tell them what to do, you just use the he, she form of the verb. And to tell them what not to do, you go to the yo form, drop the o, and add the opposite to form ending. Okay, and then of course put a no in front. If you have any additional questions, please see the notes provided in your textbook on page 97. All right, muchas gracias y adiós.